I like to think my message this week is not for you. Hi, this is Larry Kaye with shadowanyone.com. Got the website, training, free report, all that kind of stuff over there. This is something that's happened in the news recently, and then, but it's the type of thing that happens regularly. Some poor guy who was out on a bike ride posted a selfie of himself on the bike ride, and then the next day, a girl was abducted on the bike trail where this guy had posted the selfie. The very sketchy description they had of the guy who took the girl roughly matched this guy. And so, in other words, white guy on a bike helmet, sunglasses, right? People begin crowdsourcing in a way, kind of looking at social media posts, and they discover this image that the guy had posted of himself. Now, he didn't understand when he posted it that it was geo-tagged and it gave away his exact location. And the person who was doing the sleuthing, the amateur sleuthing, didn't realize the date timestamp was the wrong day. But all of a sudden, this guy, his social media account gets outed as the suspect. And even people go a step further and they start to what's called doxing the guy, and they find his address and everything else. This kind of social media mobbing had something like 55,000 retweets or something like that. Of course, they find out that this is the wrong guy. Why even they posted his address online, anything like this. And I'm not talking about the police in this case. I'm talking about these amateur sleuths, this mob, these do-gooders. When the corrections were put out, not 55,000 retweets, I believe the number literally was 12. In other words, a massive section of the internet is convinced that this guy did it, and very few people ever realize that he didn't. He's completely innocent. He's just a guy taking a bike ride. The reason I hope this doesn't apply to you is because you're the type of person who has the skill set to do these types of things. You're probably pretty good at finding people. For example, skip tracing. You're probably pretty decent at background checks or finding out issues that the person had. Maybe you even do some pre-employment screening or those types of things. You look at criminal histories, address histories, that type of thing. Either professionally or as so many of us who get into this, we're kind of just good at this kind of stuff, and then we migrate into that kind of work. I mean, sure, you know my story. I started out as a part-time security guard wearing a polyester shirt and a 10 badge, going around tugging on doorknobs to make sure they are locked, and moved from that to state licensed private investigator, owning and running my own agency for 9 years. That's how you pay the mortgage, the cars, the groceries, the whole 9 yards. I've been there and done that. You can do it too. You may very well be at a very early stage where your skills are not being used professionally. So in other words, you're really good at finding people. Maybe you've had to help your sister track down an ex-boyfriend that owes her money, that kind of thing. But then as you get more and more into this work professionally, and you get hired into jobs where you do this professionally, you notch it up to the next level. But you probably, whether you do this professionally or, and I'm going to say this, amateur, you're probably pretty good at these types of things. Now, I don't think amateur is a bad word, a dirty word. I believe it comes from the French amour, for love, to do something for the love of it. And that's a really good reason to be in this line of work. It's a really good reason to help people. And I understand you may very well be the person. I may very well be the type of person who sees, oh, this poor missing girl got abducted. Let's take a quick look around and see what we can come up with. That's not the problem. The problem is vomiting what you discover with your kind of special skill set, vomiting that on the line for the unwashed online for the unwashed masses to do with whatever they think is right. That's a little dicey. If you're gonna help or look at, or you discover something, any kind of case, maybe you just stumble upon it, be responsible with the information. If you come up with an address, a suspect's identity, and maybe an address for him or her, um, you know what? Go ahead and call the police department and ask to speak to the detective assigned to the case, or give it to the call taker. Here, I wanted to make sure that this information was there. You know, it's not the type of thing you vomit into a forum so that all the animals and jackals can go get this guy. That's just not cool. It's not the way the system is supposed to work. You know, I'm as opposed to the bad guys as you are. But if we don't use our skills properly and responsibly, completely innocent guys and gals get caught up in the hoopla as well. So think about that. Use your skills, anything you learn from me, either, you know, the free online stuff, the things the what 350 plus articles I have over at shadowanyone.com, the videos, my paid training, whatever you do, or whether you're learning it elsewhere, the skills that you learn, use them responsibly. And if you kind of question to yourself, I don't, what's the right thing to do in this circumstance? Reach out to a trusted advisor and say, hey, I got this dilemma. What do you think? Somebody you trust the ethical leanings of, you trust their moral compass, and get a read and make an informed decision from there. In the meantime, this is Larry Kaye with shadowanyone.com reminding you, as I do every week, do the right thing, even if it's the hard thing.